How's it going, guys? And I'm here with my SmackDown review, but before we start, I have to talk a little bit about Raw. Didn't watch all of it, but I figured we'll recap a little bit of what I saw, and it's not really that much to talk about. Obviously, the biggest thing was Shane. They announced the Elimination Chamber match that Drew was going to be defending. What I did not get about this opening here, like, Shane is back, and we didn't ever get to talk about Raw Underground because I was taking a break during that time, but I saw what was going on. They had this undisclosed location where they were doing like supposed shoot fighting, like work shoot fights, and it was supposed to kind of harken back a little bit to like Brawl for All, and it didn't really go over too well. It was an interesting concept, I suppose, but not, executed very well, of course, but it was something different. They tried something, and Shane was just pretty much just taken off the show along with that segment. So Shane comes back, and Adam Pearce is in the ring, and he's coming back to make an announcement, but Adam Pearce already knows what the announcement is, so Shane doesn't even need to be there. I guess he was just there for moral support to kind of make a co-announcement in the way. It felt weird because he was adding nothing to it. And even if he came to announce this match, it's almost like, who cares? If Shane is going to come back after months of absence, you kind of expect him to have a bigger announcement, something more than just announcing a match on a pay-per-view. But Adam Pearce already knew what it was. I didn't really understand what was Shane's purpose here. Then we also had Edge, still undecided, says he's going to make his decision after the Elimination Chamber. So, all those, appearances on the different shows were just basically a waste of time. Think about it. We could be spending this time, building up to something. They used to, kind of hint at things. Yeah, there was always a pay-per-view in between. It used to be No Way Out or St. Valentine's Day Massacre. But you could always see where they were kind of getting to. There was little hints, with it not being so obvious. They always had the mystique. Ooh, could it be this guy? Or maybe, you will get the match with the guy who's already the champion at the time of the Rumble. So there, there was all these little things. But here it's like they don't know who it's going to be. They don't know if it's going to be Reigns, if it's going to be Drew, if it's going to be somebody else. I don't honestly even know what they're going to do. My guess is probably that they would go with, I would think, with Edge and Reigns. I just think it'd make better sense, and then you'd have Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. And Drew even says, like, I thought the match was supposed to be between me and Sheamus. So they kind of seem like they're headed in that way. I guess you could say it's predictable, but there's nothing really bad with it being predictable, if that is what kind of makes the most sense on the way they're going with it. But, with them, things can change on a whim, but that's kind of how I think it's going to go. The other thing was Naya Jax. The whole thing, the internet blew up, or at least the section that still watches this crap says Naya Jax falls out of the ring in a tables match with Lana, and she screams out, "My butt, my hole." And I don't understand when they replayed this on SmackDown why they bleeped out hole. Like, is that like a bad word? Anyway, it was funny, it was goofy, but I think people were kind of overblowing it. I mean, Nia Jax is already, I've said that Jax has had potential. They could have made her a serious dominant threat. She could have been the next Awesome Kong, even better than Awesome Kong, to tell you the truth. The girl's got talent, people drag her name through the mud, but I don't even think they really ever hit on the number one thing about Nia Jax, and that's the fact how girly they make her. And we're going to be talking about that in a little bit, but I suppose it was funny. I didn't really start hysterically laughing like a lot of people did it, that I was like, okay, it's It's kind of like just about everyone else on the roster. They don't act like a star. They don't act professional. They don't act they're like a character or anything like that. They're not presented well for TV. So it's not really shocking to me. People keep acting, oh, they act shocked. Like they're surprised by this stuff. It's kind of commonplace, people. We just kind of know that this is sort of what we're going to get now. We've got, let's start off from the beginning here with SmackDown. So we've got Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman and Adam Pearce in the ring. And, you know, we're going to have Reigns defending his championship inside the chamber. And all of a sudden, Paul Heyman seems to know more about the contract than Adam Pearce does, who is the quasi-GM authority figure on the show. Still haven't said what he is. When's the last time you ever had someone on the show and you didn't know what their position was? This is just someone who was kind of appointed by McMahon to do a contract signing one week. We've talked about this already for many weeks now, for many months. He just kind of, you know, kind of settled into this role, sort of, you know, not official. Like, it's really weird. You never had this before. Someone just kind of creeps in to an authority position. How come everyone's always been announced? Eric Bischoff, Teddy Long, Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels as commissioners and GMs. There's always been some type of fanfare. Here, just, you know, Adam Pearce gets sent on an errand one day, and, you know, the rest is basically history, if you want to call it that. And this is what we have here. And, you know, Adam Pearce is, like I said, I know this is monotonous, but that's just how it is sometimes, because the same thing happens every week on these shows. Low-talking Pearce, low-talking Reigns. Adam Pearce is just, I don't know like what it is, but every single time the guy comes out there, it's like they've given him a sedative. Like, I don't know what it is. He's sedated, because it's always just low and just inaudible. And like, I don't like, it's like the guy is barely alive out there. You would never know this guy was a wrestler because he doesn't act it, or is being told to not act that way. And, you know, I'm not saying let him go out there and cut like a huge aggressive promo or anything like that, but I mean, where's the style? You know, where's the flair? Where's the character? He's got to be the most boring GM. I've said it already in the past. I think Mike Adamle was, and I'm not even joking when I'm saying it. It's not satire. I'm not being sarcastic, but I think he actually brought more to the table than Adam Pearce is here. And how come? Why is it that Paul Heyman always seems to get the one up on Adam Pearce? He gets Adam Pearce into a gauntlet match. He says here that instead of Roman Reigns defending the championship, because it says that he only has to defend the championship at the Elimination Chamber, not in the Elimination Chamber. So somehow they got the contract grammatically incorrect. You know, they used the wrong word, and now all of a sudden it's going to be the winner of the chamber match is going to go on to face Roman Reigns. And like, you know, you've just got the baby face authority figure just like, well, I guess that's the way it's going to be. And there's like no struggle, no power struggle. There's no Adam Pearce saying to Paul Heyman, well, how do you know this? No, we just come to accept it. Well, that's it. Paul Heyman was just an advocate. He just said it, and now it's law, apparently. Like, watching this show, and the wrestling is fake, but the story at least makes some bit of sense. I mean, you're just having Pearce be out there like a goofball. And then you have Sonya Deville saying that he stood up to Roman Reigns because he went face-to-face with Reigns. I mean, it didn't seem like he was standing up for himself. He just let not only Reigns, but Heyman walk all over him in this segment. Not any authority here. You know, he just basically looked like a figure, an action figure, you know, just stone-faced, not really saying much at all, and just kind of letting the chips fall where they may. Like, this is just such a poorly written, poorly put together. There's no excitement. Like I'm saying, like, talking about sedated Adam Pearce. Adam sedated Pearce. I feel like that's what we should call him. You know, because just calling him boring wouldn't do it justice, because there's just nothing here. It's almost like the lights are not even home up. They're not even. There's no one home upstairs with Adam Pearce. It's just like, oh, like out there. He makes an announcement. He just stands there and takes it. And that's what we're getting here. So this is like sedated SmackDown. A sedated. Like, who's going to stay tuned for this segment? And here we go again with Roman Reigns, the potential of this character, and where we started to where we are now. And there's nothing there at all. You know, you've got Jey Uso being announced for this match. He's going to be in the chamber. There might be something there where maybe Jey Uso could, you know, win this match against Reigns. But if he makes it to Reigns, will he lay down for Reigns? Or is it going to be too much for Jey Uso to resist? You know, we don't get any of that. There's nothing. There's no questions asked. That's just basically it. That's the end of it. That's the end of the story, and that's your opening segment, folks. A total failure, horrible, no intrigue, no nothing. You know, I guess it's a little interesting that we're kind of going to have, you know, someone who's going to be beaten up in this match, this Elimination Chamber, and then he's going to go on to face Reigns. I mean, it's kind of a little bit obvious. You know, we've got Kevin Owens in this match. So, you know, obviously we know it's going to be Kevin Owens for all intents and purposes, because now we've tried everything in the book, you know, lazily booking this, of course, but, you know, we've had it be Adam Pearce first being the one to, like, you know, step down and have Owens take his place, and now we're going to just have, you know, Owens winning the Elimination Chamber and surviving. You know, after all the big bumps that he took at the Rumble, you know, obviously the guy can make it through a chamber, you would think. I mean, he got up after flipping off the top of a forklift, for God's sakes, and, you know, flying through a table and all this, and even getting hit with a golf cart and going through the glass. And so, I mean, a chamber should be a walk in the park, because he survived all that at the Rumble. And, you know, of course, they're going to want to make up for that bad finish that they had. So, of course, it's going to be Kevin Owens. We already know that. It probably won't be Jey Uso. That could be interesting, but I don't think they're going to go back to that, because they've already settled that. And we're already to this point. But there's so much potential in this character. The storylines that you could have with it. You could see the family, and I don't get it. Why, with all the potential there, do we settle on the lowest common denominator? Like, no effort. Like, you should be, like, the writers and Vince should be, like, impassioned and excited to write for a character like Reigns. Finally, we've got a star worthy of, like, making a great story around this guy. And there's only little bits and pieces and hints that don't even, you know, get it off the ground. And we're left with this pile of shit. It's just awful. So, we've got our first qualifying match of the night for the Chamber, and it's Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn defeating the Mysterios. And, you know, I think that what could be exciting is they should have probably just had Mysterio, you know, Rey and Dominic maybe win the tag team championships, you know, instead of going into this, because now we're just having Dominic just eat pins left and right. You know, he just managed to obtain a victory over Corbin, and here he is losing to Sami Zayn the very next week. And it just feels very flat. There's nothing really here, you know, after telling a bit of a story last week with Rey being thrown off the stage and then coming back to hold on to Corbin's leg at the end, enabling Dominic to get the win. You know, a father-son tag team title run could be interesting. But instead, we're going with this. You know, they're just jobber fodder here. You know, just Rey Mysterio, such a legend and everything. It's like, to not even have him in this chamber. I'm just thinking to myself, like, as good as Zayn has improved his character and everything, like, the fact that you have the option of having Rey Mysterio in this match versus Sami Zayn just blows my mind. Like, and Cesaro is even in there, which is just totally shocking to me. I don't even understand, how they're even going to go through with that. We'll get to it a little bit later on. But no Mysterio. Backstage, we got Sasha Banks and Reginald. He hands some wine or champagne. He said it was wine. It looked like champagne, though, to Sasha Banks. And this is a good little opportunity that, maybe, possibly, maybe this might be poison. That could be an idea. But no, he just kind of gives it to her. And nothing happens. And the way he looked at her as he walked away, you could have sworn, because that could be interesting for them. No, it was perfectly fine. She took it, she drank it, and that was it. That nothing happened to her. So, Reginald didn't have any devious plot. Carmella didn't even appear on this episode of SmackDown. So, there's the smallest thing there that you could have just added something in there. And people might argue, oh, that would have been stupid. But I'm just saying, isn't it weird that the heel would just come up to Sasha and, I don't know, what is it supposed to be? Does he have a crush on her? We're not told. We're just moving on to the next thing already. We've got Big E, and he's coming out for a challenge here. And, of course, Apollo Crews comes out, and he wants to challenge. And I don't understand this. Once again, we've got the audio, so already I'm struggling to hear Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns talking in the opening segment. And for some reason, I don't know what it is. They are obsessed on SmackDown. Because I don't think this is not really a problem on Raw. They are obsessed on SmackDown with just making it impossible to hear shit. And I don't get why. Big E and Apollo Crews get face-to-face and they start arguing with each other. And I mean, this seems like a pretty decent argument. I mean, it seems somewhat like the way two people would argue. But, it would be nice to be able to hear it. I don't know why Big E can't just hold the mic up closer to his mouth, and instead we have to once again struggle to hear this. Turn up the volume on our computers and TVs so we can actually hear what the wrestlers are saying in a segment that has dialogue. I don't get it. What is the point of having dialogue in a scene, in a segment, if you're unable to hear it? I just feel like this should not even be an issue on the show. I mean, we talk about the storylines and everything like that. Do we really have to concentrate on something basic like the actual, the visual presentation and the audio? Even when the show was terrible, in the arenas with full crowds, you notice I never said anything about the audio quality or the visual presentation, because we're talking about the WWE, an A-list wrestling company. So that's not even a factor. That's just a given. I shouldn't even have to say it, but here I am talking about it. So Nakamura comes out. He accepts the challenge for Big E, and we've got Apollo Crews interfering in the match. And these are two guys where I just don't see any future in them. I see Big E, I see a talented guy that just is going nowhere fast. And I don't think Big E is ever going to really get to the big time. He's not going to be one of those big A-list stars. I think there's going to be another guy that's just going to stay in the mid-card realm, because there's potential. It's just there's something either with him or just the company that won't allow this guy to break out. And, here he wasn't showing too much of that New Day style, which was good. He wasn't being as goofy here. He was getting a bit serious, and I wish they would capture that. You don't have to be 100% serious, but I always talk about it. You could be funny and be tough at the same time. The Rock managed to do it. Stone Cold managed to do it. There's a lot of ways that you could slip humor in there without acting like a total goofball. But Big E seems to just not always have the right balance. It seemed like a better balance here. I don't get why they keep constantly going back to Apollo Crews. This guy's got a great build and everything, but it is just, there's no presence. He comes out and he has just absolutely no presence whatsoever. It has nothing to do even with the guy's size or anything like that. I'm just telling you, there's just nothing here. And Nakamurphy, this is like the same thing that we're going to talk about in a few moments with Cesaro. This is a guy that they just keep going back to. This guy is a Royal Rumble winner, mind you. That like 2018, that was supposed to be his big year. So now it's 3 years later, and you know, that failed push, that was like a mega push, it failed big time. And here they are, take two, after, you know, shoving him in the tag division, giving him an IC title run, and everything was just ultimately forgettable. You know, what did you expect? Now we're doing it again, and it's like half-hearted. You know, they just throw him here into the IC title picture again, right? Wasn't the whole thing supposed to be, oh, it's like a world title push? They put him into the gauntlet, and here he is back to square one. He's back going for the IC belt again. You know, so this then brings me to my next point with Cesaro and the return of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, I don't even understand this. Seth Rollins sacrificed himself for the SmackDown team. He, you know, and the thing is, this like cost them the match. He cost SmackDown the match, right? By sacrificing himself. So, can I ask a question here? Why is everyone celebrating Seth Rollins' return? Shouldn't it be met with, you know, disdain or something like that? I mean, shouldn't they be mad at the guy because, you know, he cost them, and because Survivor Series, oh, it's supposed to be so important. It's about brand dominance and brand supremacy and all that. And now everyone just, you know, they're there, and then when Rollins starts talking, they all start walking away. Why are you even out there in the first place if you weren't interested in what Rollins had to say? Like, you know what this guy is going to say, and he's coming back sort of with the Messiah gimmick, but not really. He's talking about leading, but he came out once again with his Burn It Down music. I like the outfit. I wasn't sure if I did it first, like the whole leather or, you know, pleather suit and tie. But it kind of works, I suppose, for, you know, what he's going for. But I was seeing like a mixture of gimmicks here. I'm like, he's kind of, sort of, kind of being the Messiah, but then again, kind of not, because they changed the music and he didn't exactly have the same demeanor. It's like he's going for the, you know, Iowa's own, you know, I'm a great wrestler gimmick, and then slowly started to creep back into the Messiah. I don't know what's going on, quite honestly, guys. I'm totally like at a loss for words with Rollins. I mean, it sounded like a good promo, but at the same time, it just kind of felt very rambly. Like, and this is how it's kind of been with him, even before he left. Like, it's better than, you know, the, hey guys, we're gonna burn it down, you're on fire tonight. You know, it's way better than that, but still, I just, you know, with everybody walking away, it just kind of felt like a rambling promo that was going nowhere fast. And Cesaro sticks around for some reason. I don't know why, because they just need somebody in the end that Rollins could get heat on. So then he you know, Rollins starts reaching at them. And the funny thing is, as everybody's walking away, it's almost like Rollins can't get away from the scripted promo. And maybe it wasn't so scripted. I think it probably was, but you notice like he can't even react to people walking away. He's looking at them, but he's not even saying like, hey, where are you going? No, he's not even saying that. The people are walking away and he can't stop from the diatribe for 2 seconds to acknowledge it, because he might forget one of those important words, even though it's a big rambling speech that he's rattling off. He can't. Like, they know that they were going to have people walk out on this promo. That's kind of the idea. Like, oh, this guy's out of his mind. But the simple fact of the matter is, react to it. You know, it could have been funny in a way. There was opportunity for some humor, you know, for some character interaction. But no. First of all, you have all these wrestlers, faces and heels, coming out. And I'm back to my original point. Why are they out there listening to Rollins? Nobody liked this guy. If they liked him so much, they would have joined up with him. And judging by the response, no one likes him. So, like, I don't get it. Why were they out there for this? Could anyone really say anything? And the announcers are not even questioning it. You know, it's kind of like a sign of respect or whatever the case may be. I don't know. Anyway, he gets mad that Cesaro walks away, so he beats up on Cesaro. And apply the rant that I said. I just, you know, here we go. We're, you know, going into a feud here that I really just couldn't care less about. I mean, this is what we're gonna get. We're gonna get Rollins, and we're gonna get Cesaro. Daniel Bryan comes out to make the save. Oh goody, this is gonna be just so great. It seems like more people now are like talking about Cesaro because now, you know, they've kind of sort of started to push the guy again. It's only a matter of time before they go back the other way, because it's been an on again, off again, you know, roller coaster with Cesaro, if you could even refer to it as that. This is a guy where his time, if he was going to be anything, was basically 7 years ago. And I've been saying this, he's been in WWE on the main roster since 2012. So he has been there for like 8.5 years already, right? He came like midway through 2012, right? And he has been there. And like, what does he have to show for all these years? You know, a bunch of tag titles and stuff. But Cesaro himself, you know, this is a guy that, okay, you know, maybe they dropped the ball with him and everything, but I praised him and everything for his strength and picking up the Big Show and everything, and I thought, you know, bringing back the giant swing was a fun idea. But really, like, we're all like into this guy. You know, I'm really not, but a lot of people are, and I just don't see a lot from him. I kind of see where McMahon was coming from on this guy. Like, he doesn't really have a personality. They've handed him a mic on a number of occasions. He's not interested in getting any acting lessons. He doesn't have good facials. It's just really not there. And I don't see him, like, it's the same thing I told you. It's like the Cody Rhodes thing. Not everyone could be a world champion. Sorry. It's just not everyone could be a main eventer. Some people are meant to be mid-carders, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Look throughout the Attitude Era. There's so many amazing mid-carders that we had that just wouldn't be good world champions. You know, you could think of like D'Lo Brown and a host of others that were really good at what they did. You know, Goldust also comes to mind, but you just wouldn't buy them as world champions. They're just good in the spots that they have. And that's the beauty of it, because just imagine if everyone was in the world title picture. It'd be ridiculous. You need to have guys that are at a lower level. You just can't have everybody at the top. That's impossible. That would be like a movie. Everyone is the lead actor. There has to be a supporting cast. It just can't be everyone just is the main big star on it. And obviously with this many people not getting over it, that would be impossible anyway. I don't see it why everyone gravitates towards Cesaro. Does the guy have talent? Yes, but at the level, he's definitely not the complete package. There's a lot of people that I can think of that weren't great on the mic from the Ruthless Aggression era, and they do a better job. You know, I know a lot of people don't bring this guy up. I don't like to do it a lot either because of the negative connotations around it, but take a guy like Benoit. You know, this was a guy that he wasn't really known for his talking, but, you know, when he talked, he wasn't horrible, he wasn't bad or anything like that. He just wasn't as good as some of the other guys. But when Benoit won the championship, it was like he seemed at home. Like, this guy just, to me, seemed like a world champion. I don't get that from Cesaro. That's what I'm just saying. It's a really interesting comparison. You take a guy that doesn't have the best mic skills, but Cesaro's mic skills are pretty bad. I mean, I've seen it on a number of occasions. He just does not sound good. And that is, it's harmful because there comes a time when you have to talk. And that might work for like big monsters and stuff like that, but that he is not. He's not a big monster heel with like, that would look good having like a manager by his side. This is just, he's one of those guys where he's just okay. Does he deserve to be there? Yes, but not really to be pushed to the moon or anything like that. Bayley defeated Liv Morgan. It looked like Liv Morgan was going to get killed at one point in this match when she like comes off the ring steps and then she like hot shots her onto the barricade. Like this girl's like less than 100 pounds and like her neck snaps back. And I didn't even get like the Billy Kay thing. Like it's like supposed to be interference, but like there needs to be a ref distraction to rake the eyes now. Like, how many wrestlers have raked the eyes in front of the referee? And meanwhile, the announcers are saying, like, oh, all the 8x10s, all the resumes flew into the ring. And it's, like, caused a distraction. It didn't look like a distraction. The referee has seen, like, 1,000 eye rakes. And all of a sudden, the referee has to be distracted for an eye rake now. I mean, there's always like these details where, just you can't help but look at it. Like they can't just come up with some, there has to be some stupid match. And, it's always, I like Billy Kay's antics. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they could be better applied than having these other just like stupid matches around. Like, and I'm looking on YouTube and people are like saying, oh, Liv Morgan is just a great wrestler. Like, is she? Like, I don't know. I just, Liv Morgan is just one of those people that's just there. And I'm seeing everyone saying, push Liv. For what? And, like, listen, I know, she had, like, psychological problems and everything. I get that, and they're doing a network special on her. But is she really poor? Like, they really did a special on Liv Morgan. And I'm saying, like, look, she's an attractive girl and everything, but there's nothing there personality-wise. I'm sorry. And you're doing a whole documentary on this girl. Like, why? Like, you didn't even do documentaries on some of your other more popular wrestlers that are far more interesting and have way bigger stories. You have Zack Ryder, who's a cancer survivor. You didn't even bother to look into that, and I've ranted on that years ago. But you'll look into Liv Morgan, who obviously is someone that has had a lot less success. Like, at least at one point, Zack Ryder was on top of the world in the WWE and looked to be poised to be one of the next breakout stars. But, but I'm just saying, you got to go on YouTube and just look at some of these comments to get the consensus of the people that watch every week. These are the people you should not be appealing to. So you should be looking at these comments and then just getting as far away from Liv Morgan as possible. Because there's nut jobs out there that say that they should push this girl. That she should be at the top of the women's division. Like the women's division is not bad enough, but go ahead and make Liv Morgan the champion. Like, okay, like, does anyone just stop and think, like, what would happen if you pushed these? I guess they would be perfectly happy. No, they wouldn't, actually, because every single time, remember, oh, the women should main event WrestleMania, and then they did, and they never will again. I mean, every single time, and I know, and that is one of the things where I said that they have improved on. They stopped listening to the goofballs on the internet. Thank God for that, or we'd be in a worse spot. Product is still bad, but at least they're not doing that. But there are people that want Liv Morgan pushed. They do. And we've got the Street Profits defeating Otis and Chad Gable. Like, you would never even guess that Otis held the Money in the Bank. Like, honestly, like, take it somebody like me that, like, was taking a break and didn't watch it happen. I was observing, little things on YouTube that were happening. But, people just say, like, there's Otis and You would never even know that he had the Money in the Bank at one point. Like, this guy was poised to be their next big star. They gave him the briefcase. So, obviously, there were thoughts there of world champion. But, you know, then they just cast him aside. He wasn't ready, apparently. You know, so, you know, go figure. They gave him the briefcase just to take it away from him. And that is like, it really shows that there is no plan. It's random. They jump from one thing to the next. Somebody is going to be a big star one moment, and then they're going to be a jobber the next. The Street Profits, this is just like a team, like I said, I feel like they're putting so much stock into these guys. They're one of the most annoying teams on the face of the planet. You know, thank God they didn't do one of their annoying skits this week. I am still recovering from last week's little, you know, OBS corner box commentary. That was just absolutely dreadful in every single way humanly possible. Thank God that they didn't do anything like that again, is all I could say. Then we have a segment with Bianca Belair and Sasha. Now they're just buddy-buddy. Nia Jax coming out with Shayna Baszler. Just all around, just terrible. Like, I'm happy for Belair. She's talented. She's strong as hell and everything. And she's enjoyable to watch. She's very athletic. But my God, is she cringe. Everyone in this ring that was standing here for this segment was 100% pure grade A cringe in every sense of the word. I mean, the way how all of them conduct themselves out there with the smiling, the goofy facial expressions, the unrealistic dialogue, and Nia Jax, just like, you look at Nia Jax and you just see like a dominant female there, like the potential for one, but instead, oh, you forgot about us. We're the tag champs. Like, this is not supposed to be your Valley girl. She's not one of the Bellas, but somehow she's able to come out there and talk like that. And I get it. You know, that's the way how she talks. Send her an acting coach and get her to change the way how she talks. She should, you know, she's part of Roman Reigns' family. She's part of that family. She's part of that rich history. Get her away from Shayna Baszler. Get her over to the Roman Reigns side of things. They're on the same show here. And that's what drives me crazy. We're hearing about the head of the table, and we don't even see the family members. We don't see who's sitting at the table with Roman Reigns. Nia Jax could be one of those people. Imagine just having this big old enterprise. You know, get Paul Heyman out of there. Slide someone different in there if we need to have a manager, because there's a lot of potential that's just going to waste here. I'm just saying, look how you could just easily redirect. Instead of having my hole, you know, she gets dumped on her ass again. She doesn't cry out my hole, thankfully. But, you know, they beat up on Shayna Baszler. And, you know, I don't know what it is. Nia Jax is made to look like a goofball. Two shows in a row within the same week. I don't know. I really don't. You know, and they played the video again. They bleeped out my hole, which is like, if anyone was watching that, like, you wouldn't even know it was supposed to be funny, because they bleeped it, because apparently saying the word hole is bad. I don't know. Go figure. They've said a lot worse than that. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro defeated Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler to get entrance into the Elimination Chamber. Does Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler even feel like tag champs? Like, they have the belts, but like, this is just like a team where they just, I don't even know why they're teaming together or why they think this is a good idea. The Dirty Dogs, which it says it on their tights, but they're not even called that. And like, they're together because, I guess, because otherwise Dolph Ziggler would be doing his, like, 1,000th feud for the Intercontinental title. I don't get it. Like, a guy like Robert Roode, there's no reason why this guy shouldn't have been a main eventer. TNA already, like, basically or Impact Wrestling, had already basically handed this guy on the silver platter. The character work was already done. Already had a good character, already had a good presentation, already has a good look. None of these things are a problem. But for some reason, along the way, they just didn't know what to do with a guy that looked like Robert Roode, who's in amazing shape. They barely even have the guy cut promos. Because they, when he did cut promos, they wouldn't let him be himself. They wouldn't let him do the great job that he did in TNA when he was a champion over there. Even on a lackluster show, a guy like Robert Roode still managed to shine through. But, he's not allowed to do that. Instead, he's just got to be teamed up with Ziggler in a go-nowhere tag team. They win the titles, and it still doesn't mean anything. Then it ends with a big brawl. You got Jey Uso coming out. And then we end with Kevin Owens getting the stunner on Jey Uso. And, there you go, guys. And he cuts the promo on Reigns, saying, I won't go away. It's almost like an inside joke. You had Corey Graves saying, oh, Owens won't just go away. Yeah, because he needs to go away already. And because I've been saying, other people have been saying it's enough already with the Kevin Owens. Yeah, we all know he's going to go in. He's going there in the Elimination Chamber. He's going to eliminate everybody. And he's going to then, maybe won't eliminate everybody, but he'll definitely be the last guy. He'll be the winner of the Chamber. And they're going to have another match with Reigns and Owens because, we haven't seen it enough times. Like, I get it, each of the finish of those matches was, a bit hokey there, right, to say the least. So, we got to have more matches. It's enough already. I said this time and time again, I don't understand why after they finished up with the whole Jey Uso Roman Reigns thing, and then they took a break so they could do champion versus champion at Survivor Series, why did they feel like it was the best idea to go with Kevin Owens as the first challenger? Like, the guy that had, like, no steam or momentum behind him. It's just like, yeah, Owens, you're up, man. You're going to be the first challenger for the belt, after Uso. Like, okay, I don't know. Like, it was just, like, out of the blue. Like, you had this hot champion, Roman Reigns with a new character that everyone was asking for to turn him heel, and it was great, and they were having these great dramatic matches. And if you really haven't seen them, I definitely recommend them to you. Go watch them on the network. They're fantastic work. And Jey Uso, like, really showed what he could do, like, in singles. Like, this is a guy that's underrated. As far as, I'll go out on a limb here and say the matches that Jey Uso had, that's far more impressive than anything I've seen out of Cesaro for his whole entire career. They were good matches. Really good. Probably some of the best things I've seen in quite some time. As far as just dramatic and selling and everything, it was just top-notch stuff. And to come to the Kevin Owens thing, where they're just, don't get me wrong, they put a lot of effort into that last man standing match at the Rumble, but there were just so many spots and everything where they were just desperately trying to throw everything in there to add quality to it. They really want to make Owens just seem like this guy that's invincible and that he won't go away, even though we want him to go away. And that's kind of like the joke. It's like, yeah, I've never seen this where he's there every single month with a new match, where it's like they should be excited. This is like when you run out of steam with ideas, you just pick a random challenger. They were hot off that angle with Uso, and this all of a sudden they just slingshot it right into this garbage. Like, right away they wasted no time. They went right to Kevin Owens. you know, don't even try any other of these reputable guys you have on the roster. You have all these people that you could choose from, and you go right to Owens of all people. Go figure. Anyway, this, so we've got, what, we got Elimination Chamber in a week. Guess we'll have to review that too. Yeah, to anyone asking, yeah, there's no Raw reviews coming because I already did a poll. Unless you guys want to go, the poll is still open. You know, I posted it on, you know, as a community post. A lot of people voted on it. They said that they wanted me to review SmackDown. So if people are wondering why I haven't been reviewing Raw and I've mostly been reviewing SmackDown, I only reviewed Legends Night because I said that I would. And did I review any Raws after that? Yeah, I did the Rumble after Raw. The Raw after Rumble, rather. And, you know, just because I wanted to do the Raw following a major pay-per-view. And that was about it. So we're back to the SmackDown reviews, at least for now. Maybe if something interesting happens at the Chamber, we might do a Raw review. But yeah, next week will be the same thing. It'll just be a SmackDown review. Unless something so major and colossal and life-changing happens on Raw, yeah, you're not going to get a Raw review. You could just get a SmackDown review and Elimination Chamber review. As far as wrestling content goes on this channel, thank you very much. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. And thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time.